Hello everyone, this is the water technology lecture series number 4. Today I am going to deal with experimental determination of chemical oxygen demand. So here in this particular topic, first of all we would like to understand what is chemical oxygen demand. You have already understood biological oxygen demand, in short BOD. BOD value only takes into account biologically oxidizable impurities present in the water and doesn't account for biologically non-oxidizable impurities. Therefore, it is highly desirable to have the term which includes biologically non-oxidizable impurities also. Therefore, the term chemical oxygen demand came into existence. So this parameter is used to measure the total oxidizable impurities present in the sewage. Total means biologically oxidizable as well as biologically non-oxidizable impurities. Okay, so both are included here, and this term is called as chemical oxygen demand. Let us try to understand the definition of this. Chemical oxygen demand is defined as the amount of oxygen utilized for the oxidation of total organic content of the sample. Sample refers to here sewage sample or sewage, using a strong chemical oxidant like potassium dichromate in acidic media. It is represented in terms of parts per million or milligram per liter. Okay, so in short, you can understand here chemical oxygen demand is the amount of oxygen required for the organic compound present in the sewage sample. Okay, for what? For oxidizing, for the oxidation process by using a chemical oxidant like potassium dichromate. So you know the fact that potassium dichromate is an oxidizing agent only in the acid media. Therefore, it is written that potassium dichromate in acid media. Okay, so usually the unit for chemical oxygen demand is parts per million or milligram per liter. Let us try to understand the experimental determination of chemical oxygen demand. This experiment has got the principal background. Okay, so usually a known volume of a sewage sample is refluxed. Refluxed means heated thoroughly with a known volume, with a known excessive volume of potassium dichromate solution in acidic media like H2SO4 media. Okay, so in the presence of silver sulfate and mercury sulfate. Here, potassium dichromate acts as oxidizing agent, and therefore it oxidizes all oxidizable impurities. Both biologically as well as non-biologically oxidizable impurities are undergoing oxidation by means of potassium dichromate. So H2SO4 only provides the acidic media. Okay, so the role of sulfuric acid is only to provide the acidic media. Okay, so in the presence of acidic media, potassium dichromate acts as oxidizing agent. Silver sulfate acts as catalyst for the oxidation of straight chain organic compounds as well as aromatic hydrocarbons. And the role of mercury sulfate is that it avoids the interference of chloride ions, if at all, by just forming the soluble complex with them. Okay, so thus, here you please understand the role of each and every chemicals. A known volume of the sewage sample is taken. Excessive, okay, but known volume of potassium dichromate. Excessive means here, say, for say sewage sample of about 25 ml or 50 ml. Okay, so around uh, 25 or 15 ml of potassium dichromate of known concentration 0.25 or zero point 0.5 normal potassium dichromate is added in the presence of sulfuric acid media. Okay, along with that silver sulfate and mercury sulfate are added. Okay, each and everything I am going to explain here. Potassium dichromate acts as oxidizing agent, silver sulfate acts as the catalyst for the oxidation of straight chain alkanes as well as aromatic hydrocarbons. Mercury sulfate acts as, you know, the chemical which avoids the interference of the chloride ions, okay, in the oxidation process by forming soluble complex with them. The amount of after complete oxidation of organic compound, the excessive unconsumed potassium dichromate remained in the complete sample is going to be determined by the titration with the help of standard ferrous ammonium sulfate. So the amount of potassium dichromate solution consumed for the oxidation of organic matter corresponds to the chemical oxygen demand of that particular sewage sample. How much of the amount of potassium dichromate is actually consumed for the oxidation of organic matter is nothing but chemical oxygen demand of that particular sewage sample. This is what about the principle of the experiment. Okay, so once again I would like to summarize this. A known volume of sewage sample is taken. Excessive known volume of potassium dichromate in acidic media is taken in that, and it is subjected to reflection. And during the reflection, silver sulfate as well as mercury sulfate are added. Silver sulfate acts as catalyst for the oxidation of straight chain alkane as well as aromatic hydrocarbons. Mercury sulfate only avoids the interference of chloride ions. And lastly, after the complete oxidation of organic matter, okay, how much of the unconsumed potassium dichromate is going to be remained, that is estimated with the help of standard ferrous ammonium sulfate by means of titration method. For that you need to use indicator. Ferroin is the name of the indicator. By using ferroin indicator, by doing the titration, one can estimate the unconsumed potassium dichromate, and the consumed potassium dichromate for the oxidation of organic matter corresponds to the chemical oxygen demand of that that sewage sample. Okay, so here let us try to understand the procedure of this experiment. To a known volume of sewage sample taken in a conical flask of capacity 250 ml, 1 gram of silver sulfate and 1 gram of mercury sulfate are added, and then a known volume of potassium dichromate solution is added and acidified by sulfuric acid. Then this conical flask is fitted with a condenser, and the solution is refluxed or heated for about 2 hours. The contents after heating are cooled and titrated against standard ferrous ammonium sulfate solution using ferroin as indicator. The change in the color observed during this titration is from blue to reddish brown. The color change occurs from blue to reddish brown. This is one thing. And another titration will be done. This is called as blank titration. Okay, the same above procedure is repeated. The above procedure is repeated, entirely the same procedure is repeated, but here the sewage sample will not be taken, simply okay, for the distilled water, only for the distilled water, the entire procedure, above procedure is going to be repeatedly done. Okay. Then normality of FAS solution is equal to N. Then actually how much of the potassium dichromate consumed in satisfying chemical oxygen demand is equal to B minus A ml. Substituting this say volume of potassium dichromate in the say formula N1V1 is equal to N2V2, you will find that N1, that is normality of chemical oxygen demand, N1 is equal to N into B minus A divided by V. Okay, that is normality of the sewage sample, N1 is equal to normality of the potassium dichromate into volume of potassium dichromate actually consumed by the sewage divided by volume of the sewage sample taken for the experiment. So if you just multiply by 8, you will be getting, the 8 is nothing but equivalent weight of oxygen. So by multiplying with 8, you will be getting chemical oxygen demand of the sample is equal to N into B minus A divided by V into 8. In terms of gram per liter you are getting, but usually it is expressed in terms of milligram per liter or parts per million. Therefore, it is to be once again multiplied by 1000. Then the entire formula is going to be expressed as N into B minus A divided by V into 8000 milligram per liter or parts per million. So thus the chemical oxygen demand of the sample is going to be calculated. In our next slide, we are going to discuss few problems or numericals based on this particular formula. Okay, thank you.